So what is black culture? It's non-existent. So stop gatekeeping an element that you came up with to protect and defend your own racism. Let's do better. Culture is meant to be shared, appreciated, and enjoyed. Not gatekept, not exploited, and not appropriated. Hello everyone, horo wanyu, habari zenu, como esta, konnichiwa, guten tag, and all the other greetings. It is Kenyan Hippie back with a new video. I hope you guys are having an amazing week or weekend, depending on when this drops. If you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much for your support. Make sure to hit the notification bell so you know when I post new videos. If you just came across my channel or came across my video, I hope you'll stick around. I do social commentary, cultural commentary, social political commentary, and etc. You can find my About Me video right here. For those who know my content and have been around for a while, you know how I feel about gatekeeping culture. This video has a lot to do with that, so let us watch.
So there's no such thing as a black hairstyle. That doesn't exist. So many different cultures have worn dreads if you actually did your research. You know, ancient Egypt, ancient Greece, ancient India, and even Native Americans, which I am. So actually, this is part of my culture. Joke's on you.
So this is one of my mutuals for a very long time. We met on TikTok, of course, as most of my people. And she is a gorgeous woman, as you can see. She has dreadlocks, whatever you call them, dreadlocks, locks, madredi, whatever I call them, tomato, okay? And TikTok is a very interesting platform. For the longest time I was on there, I gained traction because of how much and how passionately I called out cultural gatekeeping. Nope. No. Here's what we shall not do, yeah? We shall not allow some racist nincompoops to make us afraid, of embracing cultures. I hereby decree by the powers vested in me by my cultural cultureness, everyone, no matter their skin tone, that you are all welcome to African culture. Culture is meant to be shared. Culture is meant to be appreciated and embraced. So I do not want to hear nye. You go and you wear your dress. You hear me? Just do your due diligence, know where it comes from, or what it's called. Near Wombas, and then enjoy. I'm gonna give this to my African brother.
If a white person comes to Africa, dresses up like an African, the people in Africa, in whichever tribe she is, will love it that someone new is trying to embrace their culture. But if this same white person goes over to America and dresses up like, an African of this tribe that she has visited, people there are going to judge and be like, why are you dressing like this? You're not from there. It's not for you to judge. Allow the people who are supposed to be offended, and if they are not, shut the fuck up.
Now, obviously, for those who know, Locs have been around the world. A lot of cultures have partaken in them. In my instance, in my situation, is the Mau Mau. My ancestors, they wore locks. Jamaica, they wore locks. But so did the Vikings. And you trying to gatekeep that kind of a hairstyle is just you showing your own ignorance. Because that tells me you don't know what other cultures did around the world. You're not the owner of locks. You don't get to gatekeep locks.
I saw this comment and so I thought I would address it. I was in no way, shape, or form trying.
All right, hold on. I got some coffee from Kenya and it is amazing. So clearly there's going to be some whiny crybaby gatekeepers that say that I'm not supposed to have the hair that I do. Even though my ancestors were doing this to their hair almost 1,000 years ago. And they're going to tell me that because this isn't made for my hair, that my hair is eventually going to fall out, which it won't. But don't worry, even if it does, I can rock it bald. And of course, to maintain this, I also use products made for African hair because they work the best. So
they don't belong to you. And even if they belonged to you, culture is meant to be shared, appreciated, not exploited, not gatekept, not appropriated. And this conversation helps me segue to the next conversation. What is the difference between cultural appreciation, cultural appropriation, and cultural exploitation? This is my definition. Appreciating a culture is one, learning where it's from, its significance, its meaning, and enjoying it. That's it. A perfect example is Kiswahili. In America, I have met so many people with Kiswahili names. These are mostly the dark-skinned Americans. Unfortunately, they are one of the biggest perpetrators of cultural appropriation. Why? Because they don't do their homework. So you say someone names their child Baraka, or Bahati, or Amani, or Imani, or Kenya even, name of countries. But if you ask these people, do you know what your name means? They don't even know it's a Kiswahili name. Short answer, yes. Long answer, where do I begin? Let's start with Kwanzaa. It's unfortunate that most of you, and by you I mean ADOS, don't understand your own history, because if you did, Kwanzaa would not be named Kwanzaa. Why? Kwanzaa comes from the word, Kiswahili word, first. Kiswahili is a Bantu language found mostly in East Africa and South Africa. Bantu is a language group next to Kushites and Nilotes. Y'all, since you're descendants of the slave trade, transatlantic slave trade of West Africa, have nothing to do with Kiswahili. So why would you name a holiday an important holiday after a Kiswahili word? Next. How many chocolate Americans have I met using Kiswahili names? Bahati, Zawadi, Imani, Amani, even Kenya. And guess what? They have no idea what they mean. That's exactly the epitome of cultural appropriation. Picking and choosing what you like, not doing your homework on it, not knowing what it means, just getting it because we are all black, therefore we are all the same, and therefore you can just do whatever you want. That's appropriating culture. The least you could do is maybe, if you're trying to connect with your roots, pick a name from Nigeria, the Igbo tribe. Tell me how many tribes are there in Nigeria? How many tribes are there in Ghana? Do you know? No, you don't. Because what you do is claim cultures that don't belong to you and then also gatekeep them. Claiming and gatekeeping African culture is the bane of my existence from y'all. Okay? Alright. Do some homework before you go claiming things you don't understand. And stop accusing others of appropriating them, even if they themselves know more about Africa than you. And P.S. Don't ask a question if it's a directed question and you already made up your mind. You're not here to learn. You're here to try to challenge me. Don't Afri-splain Africa to an African. Appreciating a culture. My son has a Basque or Dutch name. I know its meaning. I know its origin. That's what you need to really appreciate a culture. Know its origin, know its meaning, and enjoy it. Now, the only time you'll hear me accepting and gatekeeping of a cultural practice if it's a closed practice. What does that mean? Only very specific people can do it. For example, a priestess or a priest, then that's fine. There are certain sacred items that cannot just be used by anyone. That's different. I've always been about sharing my culture. You hold so much pride in your skin tone. The only value you have is that attached to your skin tone, aka black culture, even if there's no such thing as black or white culture, because culture is not skin tone based. It's based on our geographical location and or our ethnicity. The difference between me, an African American, and you, a victim American, is that we love to share our culture. Culture is meant to be shared and appreciated. This is a salon in a place called Kenyatta Market in Nairobi. It doesn't matter who you are, they'll braid your hair. You need to leave your city, leave your town, travel, see the world, open your freaking mind, and get rid of that hate. Gatekeeping anything based on skin tone is racism. What is cultural appropriation is the exact opposite of appreciation. Unfortunately, a lot of liberals in the liberal space in America misuse that word because Anytime they want to gatekeep our culture, they claim it's being appropriated. That is not the case at all.
Do you have to be Chinese to wear this?
You don't have to. Anybody can wear.
What prompted you to make that video?
I made that video to prove anti-white ivory tower professors like the one in your studio wrong. I mean, this video and the others that I've made like it with Native Americans, with Mexicans, with the Chinese you just watched are irrefutable evidence that people like that professor are exactly wrong on cultural appropriation. I've seen people get offended by braids and say, oh, you know, braids are a black people thing and white people can't wear braids. It's called a Dutch braid. It was from back in Nordic times, old Nordic times, with white people, with Vikings, would wear braids. You can't claim that something is just a part of your culture either. It's for people to share and celebrate and use so you can actually have a society that is cohesive and works together as a melting pot.
It is appropriation. It is using things without doing your homework. A perfect example. This was a few years, this was, I don't know, 10 years ago. So I was watching Jeopardy, RIP Alex Trebek. This lady comes on the show. She has a very interesting name. So obviously, Alex Trebek goes, hey, that's a very interesting name. Can you tell me more about it? She goes, yeah, it's a Kiswahili. I was like, no, it's not. No, it's not, bitch. You lied. It was not a Kiswahili name. Nowhere near Kiswahili. For Pa, it was so embarrassing. I had secondhand embarrassment on her behalf. I almost felt insulted as a native Kiswahili speaker. Like, girl, why are you lying about that? Who told you it was a Kiswahili name? Where did you get that idea from? That's a perfect example of appropriation. It's wearing a kimono and then someone asks you and you say it's from China. That actually did happen once on TV, I remember. Someone was wearing a kimono. They don't know it's Japanese, so they say it's Chinese. You're just wearing stuff without knowing where it's coming from. Like, that's the least you could do, is learn where things are from. What is cultural exploitation? You know what comes to mind when I think about this? Disney is the biggest cultural exploiter ever, whoever lived. The way Disney grabs cultural things from people without giving them any ode, that's very problematic because they profit from this. A perfect example is Hakuna Matata. Disney copyrighted Hakuna Matata as their phrase, despite the fact that Hakuna Matata has been in existence for the longest time in Africa. Because Hakuna Matata, yes, it means no worries, but that's always been a phrase. They did not coin the phrase. So imagine going to a culture, stealing something from them and then copyrighting it like it belongs to you. That's called cultural exploitation. Shakira, Waka Waka, that song has been in existence for a very long time by the Zangalewa group. I was dancing to it when I was 9 years old. So again, you run into issues like those because you're exploiting someone's culture for profit. You're using someone's culture to make profit on them without giving them ode. That's cultural exploitation. So hopefully I made that clear. Someone wearing locks, whether or not it belongs to their culture, let them have it. They are appreciating the locks. Vikings had locks. The Kikuyu had locks. Jamaicans had locks. Locks are a hairstyle. If someone wants to enjoy it, let them. Any gatekeeping of culture that's based on skin tone is racism.
Dear Black community, let them white girls wear their box braids if they want to wear them. Not annoying people of color is getting my words twisted.
First of all, nothing makes me go like the term POC. Even worse, BIPOC. Guy. Like hearing nails on a chalkboard. That's what I feel when I hear those two terms.
Not with that. So let me clear something up. No, I'm not giving you permission to get box braids. That's not permission. I'm just...
Excuse me, did you say permission? Permission? Who needs your permission? Who are you? Who are you? Who died and made you the braids god? I knew it.
Saying there's no point in correcting you if you're going to constantly disrespect us and say it's just hair.
Imagine having such a pathetic life that people wearing braids offends you. Imagine that. Let us sit down and imagine.
If a white girl asks me, where do I get my box braids done? I will definitely direct you to the nearest African who I know's braids tight as crap so they can have them nice and neat for you. And then you'll end up bald head in a couple days.
First of all, it's the passive aggressiveness. Secondly, is the thinking and being the lulu enough and being narcissistic enough to think you own braids. Shameless. Darling, if you're gonna get very practical. Braids are not exclusively for black people. Yeah. On that note, how much melanin percentage should one have? Yeah. Before they can be allowed to wear braids, because it seems the darker you are, the more acceptable, and the lighter shade of wheat you are, at the more appropriating you are being toward the braids. From what I understood and from what I have seen personally, me myself, these are not white women, are they? And yet they are missing their edges. Sidio, why is that? Mind your own hairline. Why are you worried about other people's hairlines? First of all, I have not once seen a vanilla person missing hair on their edges, missing their edges, because they were pulling their hair too tight. It's always yo. So what is bugging you? What is bugging you? Because they have a better hairline than you. Plain and simple. I'm sick and tired of seeing people calling, oh, that's a black hairstyle. Can we talk about the fact that they gave it a color? Culture is not a color. There is no such thing as black culture or white culture.
Doesn't matter if you're black or white. Another musical interlude for
acculturation. Say it with me. Acculturation. It is the balancing of cultures. You're having to adapt, adjust, and even adopt a new culture while still maintaining the aspects of your birth culture. Culture is literally a way of life. Acculturation just means you're having to adjust to a change in your way of life. For instance, I'm a Carolina baby, born and raised. I currently live in New Orleans. I can't function here with a Carolina mindset. I've had to adopt a new culture. Immigrants, when they move from somewhere else to here in the States, they have to adjust to the American way of life. When someone gets married, even if your spouse has the same skin tone, because culture doesn't come from skin tone, you're having to adjust and adopt a new way of life. She's white, her husband's Nigerian, she has adopted his culture. This is normal. Unless you stay in the same house, in the same bedroom, from the cradle to the grave, everyone will go through this at least once. Culture is not fixed, it moves.
Because black people and white people are not a monolith. The British have their own culture. Americans have their own culture. Every state has its own culture within the country. Africans have culture. There are multiple cultures within each country in Africa. In Kenya, we have the Kikuyu tribe with their own culture, the Luo tribe with their own culture, the Meru tribe, the Embus, the Maasai, the Luo. We are all black in quotation marks, but we have very different culture. So what is black culture? It's non-existent. So stop gatekeeping an element that you came up with to protect and defend your own racism. Let's do better. Culture is meant to be shared, appreciated, and enjoyed. Not gatekept, not exploited, and not appropriated.
Again, go on.
Why are you dressed like a black man?
Then you start having a go, because I'll be honest with you, my friend bought me this. He brought me it back from Africa, yeah? And he's my mate, and I'm wearing it because I like it. I think I look good. And then you're coming here saying, why am I dressed like a black man and that? You're a racist, bruv.
Well, would
I can wear whatever I want, mate.
Why is it always the black activists or the white saviors gatekeeping cultural items? Why? First of all, yeah, you look amazing in that outfit, my guy. Very nice. It's one thing when your friend buys you something. Do you know how offensive it would be if I bought someone something from Kenya and I gave it to them and they refused to wear it? I would be very highly offended. I bought my former mother-in-law some sandals, very pretty Maasai sandals. She never wore them, not once. I wanted them back. I never asked for them because I'm not petty like that, but I wanted them back. You're here wearing something you were given by your Nigerian friend and someone else is getting offended on their behalf. What the hell? I have said it time and time again on this app. Yep. Any gatekeeping based on skin tone is racism. This person just let their racism out by trying to police what you're wearing because they think it's African and you're not an African man, therefore you should not wear it. Do people not realize that by purchasing these items or even just sharing them and wearing them, you're spreading African culture, right? This app has really brought African culture to the forefront, especially with music. All the Nigerian music you guys would never have heard if it wasn't for TikTok. Culture is meant to be shared and appreciated. So my guy, you keep rocking that outfit. The haters, tell them to go and mind their own business. And I think that guy is just jealous of you. My mom gets so much happiness from making my husband outfits. And he looks very handsome, if I can say so myself. Don't let the haters win. Keep standing up. Fight that racism and rock that outfit. Hey! If you stuck to the end of this, I appreciate you so much. Make sure to leave me a like, maybe a comment, interact with my content because that boosts my algorithm. I thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you in the next video. Kenyan Hippie out.